read that anyway. Hey, good morning. My name's Rick, one of the pastors here. Wanted to welcome you. I'm glad you're here today. As I was walking up, I got to thinking about, is it just me, or is Thanksgiving snuck up on us like you guys, or like me? You guys all think, wow, it's Thanksgiving next week or this week. I'm like, holy cow. Luckily, I don't have to do anything but show up and eat, so that's good for me. But hey, we got some stuff going on. If you guys have got family and friends and you're thinking about that and you're praying about that, get to hang out with them, and that's great. But there may be some of you that are like, hey, Thanksgiving, my family's far away, whatever, I'm not going to travel, and you may be alone this Thanksgiving. Well, I just wanted you to know at our Joplin campus, from noon to 2 on Thanksgiving Day, we're going to have Thanksgiving dinner. So you guys can come on out, have a plate, sit down, eat, have some great food, and it's like an instant family. There'll be a bunch of people there. If you would, just give us a call, let us know you're coming, so they'll set out a plate for you. So I'm looking forward to that as well, except, again, I just got to show up and eat, so it's amazing. So today we're in part 2 of our series called Irrational. Now, irrational is kind of a big word for me. I had to look it up and see, what does that mean? No, it means that it's not logical, it's illogical. What we're talking about is irrational generosity. And in today's society, to be generous is kind of counterintuitive. A lot of people think, no, I want to hold on to what I got. I want to hold on to that. I got to protect myself, got to protect my family. But we're talking about irrational generosity in unnatural ways. It's kind of against the culture, right? And people think, why would you be like that? Well, I'll tell you why. Here at our church, we believe we will lead the way with irrational generosity because we truly believe it is more blessed to give than to receive. Why is that? It's because of what Jesus did for each and every one of us. He had this irrational generosity that he gave his life up for each and every one of us. But I want you to understand and recognize that there are 2 different kind of things when it comes to giving and being generous. Those are 2 different things. I think everybody gives from time to time, right? Somebody comes up, hey, can I have $1? You got 50 cents for the pop machine, whatever, you always give. But giving and being generous are 2 different things. It's different because to be able to live a life from the heart that has a posture of irrational generosity, now that's different. That's way different than just giving. As Jesus' followers, we want to grow beyond what our society is living, in this society of scarcity, this mindset that everything is limited and we're going to run out. You know, last week we talked about the scarcity cycle versus the abundance cycle. We talked about when you have a scarcity mindset, you know, almost like living check to check, where we get it, and what do? We spend it, and we run out, we lack, and when we lack, we get afraid, and we're fearful. We go, oh, we get paid again, we spend it, and then we run out, and we lack, and we're afraid. It's this vicious cycle over and over and over. But as Jesus followers, we don't serve a God of scarcity. We serve a God of abundance, a God that said that he will fill our cup till it overflows. You see, for us, this is an abundance thing it's a cycle as well. Now, when we are talking about abundance as a cycle, what it is God provides for us, and then we return the first 10% back to him. And that's an act of worship. Because of his goodness, we give. And then he increases our faith. We believe as Jesus followers that God will open up the windows of heaven and pour out blessings upon each and every one of us so that we may bless others. He multiplies. Then our faith grows, and then what happens? We give even more. We give more, and then God blesses, and we give more, and then everybody gets an opportunity to be generous. But is that what is happening in our world? Is everybody generous? No. What I want to talk to you about today is how do we as Jesus followers grow to become abundant givers, reflecting the heart of God in a way that would shine the light into this world, reflecting the heart of an abundant God who is here to give to us so that we may be a blessing to people, and not just people here, but people all over the world. That's what it's about. It's about serving others. The first way is that we give spontaneously. Now, there's 3 ways we give, but the first one I'm going to talk about is how we give spontaneously. And that happens every single day, I think. Happens to me, happens to you. You're walking along and you see somebody in need, or you're driving down the road, and it gets me in my heart when you're pulling out of Walmart and there's that guy, we'll work for food, whatever, and we'll stop. Sometimes I'll run across the street to Wendy's and I'll buy a bag of whatever, hamburgers, not hot dogs, but food, and I'll bring it back and I'll give it to him. We just spontaneously give. Or I'll take them into Walmart and shop, buy some groceries. So you just spontaneously do that. You guys do that, and you have the ability. You see a need in someone, and you're like, I can help him. I can help her. They need something. We're going to do it. There's a lot of coat drives going on. I'm doing a coat drive right now for our cell recovery vets. So you see a need, you just give them a coat. And how that coat drive happened is I had one of my vets didn't have a coat. It was cold. So I went to Walmart and I bought him a coat, and I gave it to him. And then when they saw me give it one, then another guy comes up, hey, I need a coat, Pastor Rick. So I bought another one. My wife didn't know these. So I gave it. She was sitting there, you did. So then I gave another guy a vet another coat. And then a third guy texted me, hey, Pastor Rick, I got $10 I'll give you if you get me a coat too. Then I quickly realized, that's going to get expensive fast, right? So I talked to Gary Stubblefield. He passed it out in all these different press releases, and I got a box of coats in my office. I got coats in my truck because of people's generosity. They've just been giving us coats. So if you want to help me with that, that'd be great too. So this stuff that we do, we don't plan on doing these acts of generosity, do we? We don't plan on it. It just happens. Many of you have given to the recent hurricane victims. You've given to the fires in California. You weren't planning on it, but you just did it. You don't plan on these things. You don't get up one day and drive down the road and think, oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive around today and I'm going to look for people in need. No, these things just happen. It's spontaneous giving. There may be a single mom at your work. And what do? You get together and she's struggling. So you talk to your coworkers. I think we could pay her rent this month. Let's help her out. You guys all chip in and you do it. You've done that here, this church, both campuses, all campuses. We had a need for a lady in town or a family in town that they had these old wooden windows, and you'd walk in their house and you could feel the cold air just blow right through. So I sent out an email, and a lot of you donated that day, and we bought that lady, 10 brand new windows for her home. It was over $1,100 just like that. Poof, new windows. So you get opportunities like that, and you give. So you are a generous church, and we appreciate that. There's another family in town that I haven't sent out any emails, but same kind of thing. Their family is getting sick, and I talked to one of their doctors, or actually their doctor brought it up to me that it could be from the lead in the paint around their windows. So I'm working with Hearts and Hammers to try and figure out how to do a lead abatement in their house and replace their windows. So that's going to be another spontaneous need that we can give to, or actually that may be something we can plan on. But this is a very important way to give, is to be able to spontaneously give. See someone in need and you just fix it because you can. It's kind of like the story about the Good Samaritan. A lot of you may know this story, but there's a guy, he's out, a Jewish man, and he's going down the road, and gets attacked by these robbers. And they beat him up, and they rob him, they steal him, and they leave him on the side of the road for dead. And then there's some Jewish religious leaders, they come by and they see him, but maybe they're just busy that day, so they keep on going. Or maybe they're in fear for their life, so they're afraid to get mixed up in that, and they just keep on going. But then the Samaritan man comes by, and he sees him. What does he do? He stops and helps him. But what's crazy about this is in this day and age, the Samaritans and the Jews didn't get along. They didn't talk to each other. They wouldn't even walk in each other's land. But this guy decides, I'm going to help him. Picks him up, and he does everything he can to help him. Let me tell you how Jesus painted this picture. When he saw the man's condition, his heart went out to him. He gave him first aid, disinfecting it and bandaging his wounds. Then he lifted him onto his donkey, led him to an inn, and made him comfortable. In the morning, he took out 2 silver coins, and he gave those to the innkeeper, saying, "Take good care of him. If it costs any more, put it on my bill, and I'll pay you on my way back." Think about that. Did that Good Samaritan wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to go look for somebody that's hurt on the side of the road and help him? No. He stopped, and he started his day something like this. He woke up, and he says, you know what, God? I'm your servant. If I see a need in this world and I can help, I will do it. That's spontaneous giving. Today, I'm your servant. If you see somewhere where I can help, I'm available. I'm on call. I will step up and do that. That's a great attitude to have. But I think it starts every single morning when we're down on our knees praying to God. God, use me. Please use me, God. And I think that's why this man was able to see the opportunity and serve his fellow man. It's because he got up in the morning. He knew that he is a child of God. And I think for you guys and myself personally, every morning I wake up, I don't roll out of bed and get on my knees because I'm afraid I won't be able to stand back up, but I do pray before I get out of bed. And I pray something similar to that. God, I choose to serve you today. Please use me. Show me what you want me to do, and I will do it. And that's at the first of every day. We seek God so that we can be spontaneous with our generosity. Now, there's other ways to be generous, but I want to encourage you as followers of Jesus to look for those opportunities to be spontaneous. Even like it happened to me recently. I went stopped and got a coffee. The guy in front of me bought my coffee. So I bought the guy behind me. I'm hoping that was going to be on Facebook, like 10,000 people in a row got a free coffee or something. But that's just an opportunity to be generous. So look for those opportunities. Continue to do that. But that's great. But just understand that a lot of people think that that's where it stops. I'm a generous person because I see a need and I fix it. And don't get me wrong, that's great, and I want you to continue to do that. But a lot of people, that's where they stop. And you're going to make a difference in that person's life for that moment. But what we're wanting to do is make a difference that will change their world, change their life miraculously, right? As Jesus followers, we not only give spontaneously, but secondly, we also give strategically. That spontaneous giving, that's like what we call giving 1.0. That's the base level. That's where everybody starts. Now we're getting into giving strategically, giving 2.0. That's what we call it around here. And this is a methodical, regular, consistent giving. It's kind of like a practical application of that is just, well, we haven't done it yet, but at the end of the service, we're going to pass the basket and do our tithes and offerings, right? That's regular, consistent giving. That's giving 2.0. As Jesus followers, the first 10% of what comes in, we strategically, prayerfully, and out of our heart of worship, we return that back to God. That's where we give first. We don't give last out of what's left over. We take off the top and we give first as worship. And that is the cycle of abundance. God gives, we give also. Strategic, prayerful. It's a response to God's generosity and an act of worship. The prophet Isaiah says it like this: generous people plan to do what is generous, and they stand firm in their generosity. What do generous people do? They plan to be generous. Most of us, what we do when we plan, how we plan, when we get paid, what do we plan to do? We plan to spend it, right? That's our plan. I'm going to get paid, and then I'm going to spend it. I'm going to, you know what? If there's something I want, I'm going to claim it, and I'm going to make it mine. I'm going to go get it. Because think about this. It's Thanksgiving already. It snuck up on us. Guess what's next, right? What's the day after Thanksgiving? Black Friday. I'm going to go shopping, and I'm going to get. I don't care if that little lady's in the way. I'm pushing her cart out of the way, and I'm grabbing what I want. I'm getting me another, I almost said VCR, DVD player, right? I'm getting old, golly. But it's Cyber Monday coming, right? I'm going to get online. I know I'm supposed to be working. Ben will be at the Joplin campus. I'll be online, right? Cyber Monday, I'm going to get me some deals. I'm going to get that purse. And you know what? I'm going to get that purse because it's going to be awesome. I'm going to carry that purse in. I'm going to, in Jesus' name, I'm getting this purse because, you know, I'm going to take that purse to church. And they're going to, woo, look at that bag. Or I'm going to, you know what? In Jesus' name, I need some new shoes. I'm going to get these shoes because they are what I need, right? They're going to make my life better. I know he got a brand new pair of shoes, and he's going to be like, woo, can't wait till I get to church and be like, look at them fly kicks, right? Oh, and think about this. Pastor Rick here in a little bit, he's going to say, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go out and grab your phone. I want you to check in on Facebook and tell everybody you're here. But when I do, I'm going to do it like this. Look at this cool tech I got. Hello? No, we're going to that's what we plan to do, right? We get paid, and we want to get some stuff. We want to get some stuff. We got so much stuff that we need storage. We had a sermon a long time ago about storage and how much money the storage people are making. It's because we got too much stuff. But I can't wait for the day when we change our attitude and change our mind and get away from that. I'm going to go get it. We plan to consume, but as Jesus followers, we're not spiritual consumers. What are we? We are spiritual contributors. We do not believe the church exists for us. We believe that we are the church and we exist for the world, for those out there that are in need. Instead of just planning to make a purchase, what if Jesus followers plan to make a bigger difference in the world with their giving? We serve a great God, and if we come together in His name, who could be against us, right? If God is with us, if God is for us, who can be against us? We could make a bigger difference in the world by changing our attitude. I heard about the man that was telling one of our other pastors on staff that he planned to double what he was given this year. And then he's going to give every single week so that it becomes a part of his life, the rhythm of his life. It's just something that he does. There's several ways to, you can throw money in the basket, you can write a check, whatever. I give online. I actually are automatic auto debit. And it comes out of my check every week. And I get a notification every week, hey, thank you for your donation. And it's part of my life. We just give. And it happens every single week, whether I'm here, whether I'm not. So this man, when he's giving, that's awesome. When he doubles it and he gives every single week, that's giving 2.0. That's not glamorous. It's not anything based on emotion. But this kind of giving, it doesn't happen by accident. You see, you have to plan for this kind of giving. You have to think about what it is you're doing and make sacrifices. When you make those sacrifices, you get to do things like this. This commitment card, it was in your program today. This is Kathy and I's. She hasn't signed it yet, but I left her a space. She's going to sign it too. I talked to her about it already. So she does know about this. But it's a practical way to be in the midst of giving strategically. It's a way to say, I'm not just going to wait for my emotion to be stirred like those TV commercials with the dogs and the cats, the poor in the cages and it's cold. I flip the channel as fast as I can when I see one of those. But it's that emotional giving. You just jump in and you see somebody in need and you help. I'm going to not wait for my emotions to be stirred for a good cause, but I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to think about it, and we're going to give first. And we're going to fill out that commitment card. And I want to support what the church is doing in leading people to an active faith in Jesus. I want to be a 2.0 giver. I want to support what we're doing here. So giving 2.0. Why do we do it? So we're going to give systematically. We're going to think about it. We're going to pray about it. We're going to give a percentage of my income to a local church. I know when I say local church, I know some of you go here all the time. Some of you are visiting. But pick a church that you believe in and give like this. Give like 2.0 systematically and strategically, prayerfully give to that church. Because that church, what does that church do? We just talked about it. The church is not for us. The church is for them out there. This church, if you support it, they're going to build buildings. They're going to have programs that bring kids in that teach them about Jesus. They're going to have good youth groups that teach young men and women or young high schools and junior high students to become great young men and women. Support a church like that. They have recaptured the middle school and the junior high's imagination in a way that makes them want to come to church. I want to build a church where my parents would want to come if they were still alive. I want to build a church where I don't have to drag my wife to church. I want to build a church that I don't have to drag my husband to church. My kids had a drug problem when they were little. I drug them to church every Sunday, right? We don't want a church like that. We want a church that they want to come to. It's not about who's up here speaking. It's not about the music. It's about what this church is doing to go out there into this community and make a difference, to bring people to Christ. That's what it's about. That's the kind of church you need to find. That's the kind of church you want to be a part of and be in that giving 2.0 where you're prayerfully and strategically giving so that they can serve Christ, so that we can serve Christ. That's what Jesus followers do. That's what we do. We as Jesus followers, we give spontaneously, we give strategically, but there's another way. And we give sacrificially. I love this story, but it scares me a little bit to get to this point. Some of you may know it as soon as I start talking about it, but Jesus saw something one day that kind of stirred his heart. He was in the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, and he was watching these people come and give their tithes and offerings. So let me just read it to you. This is how Mark In the book of Mark, this is how he told the story. Jesus sat down near the collection box in the temple and watched as the crowds dropped in their money. Many rich people came in and would put in large amounts. Then a poor widow came and dropped in 2 small coins. Jesus called his disciples to him and he said, I tell you the truth, this poor widow has given more than all the others who are making contributions. For they gave a tiny part of their surplus, but she, poor as she is, has given everything she had to live on. What's kind of interesting to me is that Jesus was watching to see what they were doing. Jesus is watching us. He knows our heart and how and what we give. And you know, another thing that's really interesting to me is that he didn't stop her. If I'm the pastor on duty and I'm watching you guys come in, if we did it like that, and you guys, yeah, here's your offering, I see this poor little old lady, probably, I just picture her as coming up with a cane and all bent over, her back's hurting or whatever. She got gray hair and her clothes don't probably look very clean or nice, and she's like, that's all I got. If that's me, I'm going, whoa, you need that. You keep that. You take it. Everybody else, we got you covered. But no, Jesus didn't stop her. Why is that? Why didn't he stop her? Maybe it's because Jesus knew this woman understood the cycle of abundance. She had already figured out that giving first and sacrificially allowed God to somehow multiply and then grow her faith. I suspect that she knew that Jesus knew. She knew that, and that's why he didn't stop her. I want to ask you a question. When is the last time that you have received a massive blessing of giving sacrificially? When is the last time you gave in such a way that you felt it? That you gave up something to be a massive blessing to somebody else? Not out of what's left over, but first out of your abundance. This is what we do. We are Jesus followers, and we give spontaneously, and we give strategically, and we give sacrificially as we seek God and his will for our lives. Here's a practical application of giving sacrificially. And some of you were here last year. We began a thing last year that we're going to do again this year, and we call it, it's all about giving sacrificially, but we call it Give a Gift, Change a Life. You see, every year on Christmas Eve, we have a special Christmas Eve offering. And what we did last year was we asked, look at what you're spending on Christmas, okay? And figure that out. You kind of have an idea because everybody knows I got this niece, I got this sister, I got this kid, I got this, I got mom, I got dad. You kind of got an idea. And I know for me in my head, I'm thinking $100, $100. I can't afford that. 50, no, 25. Whatever it is, you figure out what it is per person, right? Kathy usually gets the big chunk. I don't tell everybody else, and the kids get leftovers. But we figure out what it is we're going to give, and then we cut that in half. Okay? And then on Christmas Eve, you take that half, and you give that to that Christmas Eve special offering. Or if you have the means to do it, figure out what you spent on Christmas already, because I know some of you, I'd like to see you raise your hands. How many are already done Christmas shopping, right? Oh my gosh, see people raising their hands. Already done Christmas shopping. So maybe if you have the means, you figure out what that was, and you just put that amount in the Christmas offering. Okay, but this is not something that we just do willy-nilly. You got to sit down and think about it. You got to pray about it. And if you're cutting your Christmas spending in half to give to the church, you might want to sit down with your kids and your family and your grandchildren and explain why it is what you're doing. Talk to them about what it is to give to the church and what that means and how the church is going to serve others. Find a way to make a sacrifice. Do without something as a way to bless somebody else. Now, this year's offering is going to go to a local ministry that a lot of you heard of them. They're called Water Gardens. I don't know if you guys have heard of Water Gardens. What the reason that we kind of picked them is this year they're trying to open a family shelter. They actually got to build it up, a brand new place. And I would love to see that happen. And we can be a part of that by giving. So that's something that we're going to do here locally. But our mission is not just here in town, is it? It's about globally. What can we do in the world? So we have a partner ministry in Nicaragua, a village that we work with, Rainbow Network, that we help them build a community. Some of you heard of that. Some of you actually donated and helped do that. We built I don't know how many houses now, 10 or 20 different houses we built up there. But in this community, they have to hump it up this hill or hike up this hill to get their water at the top of the hill for some reason. But it's really hard for them. So what we would like to do is build them a stairway all the way up to where their water is. And that's where the other half or part of this Christmas offering is going to go, is to help that. So we partner with these people because they are on the front lines of human need. They are in the midst of what's going on. They are the ones that, they're not just giving people food and stuff. They're actually making a difference. We partner with them because they are helping people find restoration. It's one thing to be spontaneous and help someone's need right now. Let me buy you a cheeseburger. Let me give you a jacket. But that does not help restore them back to a place where they can take care of themselves, is it? So last year's Christmas Eve offering was the biggest ever, and it was $31,135. Yeah, wow, that's a lot of money. And I'm going to challenge you this year, and it's not just this campus, it's all campuses. Let's double that. Let's triple that. Think about it. Spend some time in prayer asking God, how can I contribute? How can I help change a life? But it will take us being both strategic and sacrificial to do that, which is why I'm bringing it up now. Before Thanksgiving, before Black Friday, before Cyber Monday, you sat down, except for the one in the back that's already done shopping, and plan and pray about this. Okay? This is the sort of challenge that you actually have to plan for as a family. Like I said, you got to talk to your kids and figure this out. I want to share one example of sacrificial giving from someone in our church. Her name is Hannah White. She's 7 years old, and she's going to turn 8 on December 21st. So one evening back in October, her mom was there sitting down at dinner, and her mom asked her, hey, your birthday's coming up. What do you want for your birthday? And she sat there for a minute, and she thought, you know what? I don't want people to be cold. And her mom's like, what are you talking about? She said, well, my birthday's in December, and it's cold in December. So I would rather, how about you don't give me any presents? Let's just get blankets for cold people, and I want to take them out and give them to people out, and the homeless people and veterans and whoever is out there that needs a blanket. So this is what she decided. Let's watch this little video.
Hi guys, my name's Hannah, and for my birthday, I want everyone to be warm, and so me and my mom were deciding we should do a blanket donating sale, and I want to get at least 400 would be me and my mom's goal. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's amazing, isn't it? A little 7-year-old girl. Hannah learned to love God, love people, and serve the world right here at St. Paul's. You see, her goal was 400 blankets by December 7th. She's got other people helping there. Who are they? Hometown Pediatrics is actually helping collect. The staff at the church is collecting blankets. If you guys would like to help, so far she's got 175, but I think with our help, we can go way beyond that. We could get way more than 400 blankets. So if you want to help, I'm going to leave that box out there. That was for the Thanksgiving baskets that we were doing. I'm going to leave the box out there for a couple weeks, and I would love to see that thing just overflow with blankets so we could give them to Hannah. You know, and I was wondering if Hannah can give up her birthday to help others, if she can make a sacrifice, which is huge for a 7-year-old girl to say, I don't want any presents, I don't want a Barbie doll, I don't want nothing, I want blankets for cold people. Wow. A 7-year-old kid can do that. What can we do? What can I do? How can I make a difference? What are you willing to sacrifice in your life? Some kind of sacrifice that's not just going to fulfill a quick need, here's a cheeseburger, here's a jacket, but that actually moves the needle, tip the scales of poverty, change the direction of someone's life, or change the direction of a community. That's what we do. That's what we do here at St. Paul's. That's what we do. And I'm not asking you to do something that I don't do. Kathy and I, we're personally going to lead the way in irrational generosity. And it can be spontaneous. It can be well thought out, prayerfully, but we're going to lead the way. You know why we do that? Because of what he did. Talk about irrational generosity. Jesus, gave up his life so that I can have a relationship with God. That's why we do what we do. I just have one question for you. Are you going to be a part of the we? Are you going to give sacrificially? What can happen in the world if we learn to give spontaneously? What can happen in the world if we learn to give strategically and sacrificially? If we all did that, there is nothing we can't do. There are kids that go home hungry from our schools. Did you hear that? There are kids that go home hungry from our schools. Why can't we do something about that? If we learn to give spontaneously, strategically, and sacrificially, there is nothing we can't do. This brings us to a time of commitment. Every year about this time, we ask you as a church, and if you are a member of this church, or if you call this your church home, that we'd ask you that you consider making a financial commitment to St. Paul's to help us live out our mission. And that mission is to lead people to an act of faith in Jesus. Intentionally loving God, intentionally loving people, and intentionally serving the world. Not by accident, but intentionally. We use the word intentional around here a lot because nobody ever drifts into an act of faith. Right? It's easy to drift away from God. It's easy to stop praying. It's easy not to go to church. It's easy to stop hanging out in your life group. It's easy to drift away. But it never really happens that you accidentally, I'm at church today. It doesn't happen that way. If you're intentional about worship, if you're intentional about getting into a life group and being intentional about serving the world, that's when change happens. That's when real change happens. It's also important to be intentional about your stewardship, what you do with what you got. That's one. I think we say too many Christianese words. I call them stewardship. It's just a word that means how do we manage what God has already given us, what God has blessed with us. So every year, those of us who call this our church home, we think about it and we pray about a financial commitment. That's what this card is all about. And if you are a member of St. Paul's, you've already made this promise that you will think about it and pray about it and actually commit to doing it. And today's the day. As always, it's not about the amount that you put on there, because everybody's is going to be a little different. Maybe you're working towards 10%. Maybe you're giving 10% already. Maybe you're going extravagantly above and beyond 10%, and we God bless you for that. We thank you for that. But even if you're that little old lady, I'm trying not to look at any old ladies, and you drop in your 2 cents, everything counts. And it's about your heart and your relationship with Christ. It's regular, systematic. It's not emotional. It's not glamorous. It's not flashy, but it provides an environment for married couples to have an opportunity to work through some issues. It provides a place where kids get to learn and grow closer to Christ. It provides for a place where maybe, just maybe, somebody doesn't have to suffer a bankruptcy, or maybe we can prevent someone's divorce. There's no telling what we can do to change this world if we all work together. You're one of the most generous churches I've ever been a part of. It amazes me, just like I was talking about those windows. I sent out an email, and then poof, the next Sunday, we had all the money we needed to help that family. You did that. And that was spontaneous giving. It's amazing. Today, maybe you're a first-time giver, or maybe you're making the decision to give regularly and systematically. We thank you for that as well. But be intentional and watch what God does when you give. Lives change. The world's going to change. And for today, that is the good news. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Would you guys pray with me? Father God, we come to you this morning and we lay everything down. And our total focus on you, and we thank you for the blessings that you've given each and every one of us. Father, I pray you open our hearts and minds that we would see the opportunities to give spontaneously, to see a need and just take care of it, to give strategically where we would plan for it, we would work through it, and we would figure out a way to give. Father, and help us to give sacrificially so that we can make a difference in this world, that we can change people's lives, that we can change this community. Father, I thank you for each and every person that's here. I thank you for the band. I thank you for everything that is going on, and I ask and I pray all these things in your Son's most holy name. Amen.